Lore of League of Legends, The Weakest Heart, Chapter 6. Aviette was ready to fight. Her blonde hair lit up like a halo under the streetlight. There were 5 men circling her like dock sharks. Their utilitarian augmentations cut jagged shapes in their silhouettes. "Give us that pretty thing and maybe we won't kill you slow-like," the smallest one slurred loudly, eyeing the whip in Aviette's hand. All the vexations of the day compounded, from Steven's brotherly chiding to my new unnecessary companion to the thought of Hakim having returned. I could feel the pent-up energy crackle down my spine. Impatient to find release, a pompous miscreant and his dog-eared crew would do nicely. "You didn't say please," I called out. The mouthy one with the twitching nose looked up. "Aye, boys," he said. "No worries now, looks like there'll be more than enough to go around." "Nice of you to join us, milady," Aviette said. "Yes, we was about to indulge in a little Progress Day remuneration," one of the big ones with a copper augmentation said. His twin-sized partner tugged the brim of a dirty woolen cap over his fluid-filled eyepiece and sneered, "Your Grace." My arrival had distracted them, allowing their circle to become lopsided and a small breach to open up. It was more than enough. Speed and decisive thinking have always been my most cooperative allies, and I sprinted in toward the break, catching the lanky one across the shoulder with a long sweep. My bladed leg cut through the dirty tweed, a line of darker red blossoming quickly in the cloth. But it was the arcing blue of the subsequent hex crystal energy that knocked him unconscious. The chubby one and the one with the sump accent took to Aviette, while the tall ones approached me. I let a dark smile spread across my face. After so much contemplation, this was exactly what I needed. My 2 dance partners were not amused. Both had heavy-set shoulders as thick as the double bells that rang out over the iron sand commercia. They had still not decided who would approach first, and their indecision was my opportunity. I would take them both. I stepped in toward the one with the eyepiece, letting my back leg rake down the coiled tubes of his copper-plated brother. He had misjudged my reach and scrambled to reconnect the sliced hoses to a sputtering chem pump. A low swipe rendered his partner's leg useless from the knee down. I waited a moment for the copper one to come back with his working arm. They always thought they could outmaneuver the second strike. They were always wrong. "Now collect your broken bits and get out of my sight," I told him. His brother was already limping into the shadows, his worthless leg dragging in the muck. The metal of Aviette's whip rang out in the alleyway. There was another wire-taut snap and sparks rained down on the chubby one as he cowered, his face to the cobbles, tears streaking his grime-covered cheeks. That was only 4. I looked around. The rodent-faced one with the oversized ego was missing. I found him slinking back toward the assemblage hall. The barb of my grapples line sunk deep into the angled stone above the hall's entrance. I dropped in quickly on my sump rat, tucking his and my weight together into a tidy roll. When we came to a stop, I was on top. His fetid breathing was fast and shallow. "Did you really think you could run?" I asked, low and even. His head shook out a terrified no, but his greasy hand fingered a stick knife at his belt. He squinted from the blinding radiance of my hex crystal so near his face. He was desperate to drive the knife into my thigh, anything to get me away from him. "Go ahead," I whispered. His eyes widened in surprise, but he didn't let my permission linger long. The tip of his knife pierced into the dark leather, but went no further, stopped by the metal of my leg. Surprise registered on his face just as his hand slipped down with the force of the blow, driving the flesh of his closed fist along with the edge of his own blade. He did not swallow his scream like the others, and it rang out on the damp stone of the buildings. I looked up as it echoed from the assemblage hall. The stained glass window of the Grey Lady towered above us. A small face was pressed to the coloured glass, watching. I leaned in and let my blade at my knee almost kiss the fluttering pulse in the neck of the man beneath me. "Hunt here again, and I will end you," I promised. Realizing he had been granted an extra life, my prey pulled himself away in an awkward crab walk. Once there was enough distance between us, he got up, clutching his dripping red hand, and ran for some dark hole to lick his wounds. I could hear Aviette winding the metal of her whip. "I heard you didn't have a heart under all those mechanics," she said, her interest sparked. "Perhaps the rumours are mistaken." "Mind your manners, girl," I told her coldly as I walked out of the alley, "or I'll mind them for you."